resources to lock up 12,000 people. Cost $525 million. Meanwhile, services are being cut to substance abuse programs, to HIV programs, to education, to healthcare. So what do we want? When do we want it? Now! The next person that I'm going to bring up is an artist, an activist, an entertainer, and she is the director of Free Families Rally for Emancipation and Empowerment. Please welcome Kim Clark to the stage.
All right. Now, maybe an entertainer, but we'll see if you're entertained. I'm just really inspired to be out here today and to see everybody here putting your minds, your bodies, and your spirits where your politics are. This rally is one day, maybe an hour, but this struggle has been over 35 years of hard work, often thankless work, and we're here today to make sure that these racist drug laws are off the books forever. People, all these folks have been busting their asses to make this happen.
My son, Ashley, was involved in a situation with two Hamilton College students. What happened is sort of a common practice that police use to make drug arrests. Oneida County Police and these two students, Peter McEnany and Preston Krause. The two students had been arrested for dealing small amounts of cocaine on their college campus, and the school officials called the police in. They were arrested when word got around to them that they were selling on campus. They went to their dorm rooms and confiscated, I think, 7 grams of cocaine from each room. The police then instructed them to call my son and ask for 2.6 ounces in this particular case. And the reason they were specific with the amount is because it's according to the amount that you have that you're selling, which determines the kind of sentence that you get. In 2003, anything over 2 ounces would allow the officers, the police officers, to arrest you for an A1 felony charge, which carried a 15 to life sentence. Once Ashley went to court, his lawyer was able to help him get a plea bargain down to a B felony from an A1. That carried a 7 to 21 year sentence, and Ashley was 20 at the time. That's what he ended up with, a 7 to 21 year sentence. The two college students that were involved did not get any time at all. They were able to qualify for the youthful offender status. They were 18, so they were allowed to qualify for that. They didn't do any jail time. They didn't get a record. They got nothing. I mean, they can go to an employer and apply for a job and not say anything about what happened. Meanwhile, Ashley, has a record. This was his first offense. The students were white. They didn't get any time. Ashley's black. He's my son. He ends up with a crazy sentence. I think that anyone that looks at this story could see that race was definitely an issue here. And luckily, I believe that it had to do really with the fact that my husband and I became advocates from day one once Ashley was arrested and we found out what the Rockefeller drug laws were. It was because really the work that we did with organizations that helped us a lot. And of course our own organization, Free, we had a lot of support to help Ashley get into the work release program and he was accepted once he completed and his time. I think he had completed about 4 years, a little bit over 4 years, which allowed him to become eligible for the KSAT program, which would allow him to become eligible for the work release program. But, a lot of people know that in prison, nothing is a given. Just because you've done your time, you have an exemplary disciplinary record, you've completed all your programs, you're like the A model, prisoner, it doesn't mean that you're going to actually get to be allowed anything that you should be allowed to get. So because of all the support, like I said, we were able to get him into the work release program, and through that, he was able to spend the 6 months in the work release facility, getting a job and all those things, doing whatever he had to do there, and then to be released. His sentence was 7 to 21 years. So he has a really long time to be on parole. If these laws do change in a substantial way and there is retroactivity, Ashley will be able to apply for resentencing, and that's our hope. The last time that there were some minor changes to the Rockefeller drug laws, which was in 2004 and 2005, even though it lowered the number of years a person with a B felony would serve, Ashley was not able to take advantage of that because there was no retroactivity.
What do we want? When do we want it? Now! What do we want? When do we want it? Now! We did some math earlier this week. We added all of the people, all of the lives who've ever gone to prison under the Rockefeller drug laws. That number is over 197,000. So for those people, 12,000 of whom are still locked behind bars while we're out here protesting today, let's say it loud. What do we want? When do we want it? Now! I want to introduce someone who is new to the activism scene. This is a young man who was caught up under the Rockefeller drug laws when he was very young. He served 4 years of a 7 to 21 year sentence for a first-time offense. You may have heard of him before. His name is Ashley O'Donoghue. We want to welcome him to the stage. Please give him a warm welcome.
You gotta pause because I'm a little nervous. My name is Ashley O'Donoghue. I had 72 grams. I was set up. 7 to life. 7.5 to life was my sentence. My first sentence. My first offer. Reduced to 7 to 21. 5 years later, still struggling to get home. Finally, I make it home. These laws tore me from my family. Tore me from my family. You hear me? Laws tore me from my family. I never knew if I was going to make it home. Those 21 years still haunt me today. I'm on parole now. Every day watching my back, trying to make sure I make the right step. Trying to stay focused so I don't get caught up again and be back in the same situation. My family hurting and me hurting. I got a son. And I know there's a lot of people that's locked up right now that got sons and daughters. You can't see them, can't get a visit. Stressed out. Only because these laws have you stuck for your life. So we got to stand up now, man, do something about this, man. You know what I'm saying? It hurts me. A tear dropped from my eye. For my brothers, for my sisters, for my family.
You and your husband were staunch activists and advocates, and you appeared at every single possible site across the state that had anything to do with changing these laws, and you were in people's faces
Constantly.
and making sure that people heard about this story and about this setup, and developing relationships with elected officials and letting them know, look, this is what's happening, that you won.
These laws really need to go away. They need to be repealed. They really need to be repealed. But I don't think that the powers that be are at that point where they want to do that because it's such a political issue. So the next possibility would be a revolutionary reform, like some kind, like really, really reforming these laws. That's what we are hoping for, because I think that's what's most likely going to happen.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kyle S. Nesbitt for Rights for Imprisoned People with Psychiatric Disabilities. We, as supporters of FREE, which is Families Rally for Emancipation and Empowerment, are creating a video for the State Senate of New York and Governor David Paterson, suggesting how he should spend the $220 million that the state will be saving if and when the Senate passes legislation to repeal the Rockefeller drug laws.
First and foremost, I would invest in public education, making our education system here in the city and upstate better for low-income people. We live in, an incredibly divided society, especially in the city, where if you have the money to buy, quality education, you've got it. If not, you're in overcrowded schools, and teachers are doing their best, but they need a lot more support.
Our own state New York governor, David Patterson, when he did his State of the State address in January 2009, he quoted that he couldn't see a criminal justice strategy that was more unsuccessful than the Rockefeller drug laws.
Just think what we could do with $525 million. End mandatory minimum drug laws now.
This is Chris Carney from Queens, New York. This is Prison Fams Production. Peace.
Who sells a gram and who sells a ton? Like any big business, you small and you're gun. By gun, I mean you mess with Rockefeller. Laws are made by the ton seller. Show me the money, and the crack, and the weed, and the coke, and the speed, and everything I need to put you away. 3 strikes, okay. You'll be separated from your seed. And miren, si la policía tira, tiren. Ellos no están aquí para abusarnos, no. La prochaine fois, c'est moi qui viens pour toi. Si tu dispares, je vais te couper les doigts. Miren, si la policía tira, tiren. Ellos no están aquí para abusarnos, no. La prochaine fois, c'est moi qui viens pour toi. Si tu dispares, je vais te couper les doigts. Al diablo con las leyes de este Rockefeller. Anti-peu de fe por my spliff. And they rip like I'm causing some grief to the man and the tío llamado Sam. Who sells a gram and who sells a ton? Like any big business, you small and you're gone. By gun, I mean you mess with Rockefeller. Laws are made by the ton seller.